Congressman Brandon Gill, a member of the House Judiciary Committee, introduced articles of impeachment against Judge James Boasberg. And Congressman Gill joins me now. Joining me now, star member of the House Judiciary Committee, Texas Congressman Brandon Gill. So, Congressman Gill, what's your best argument to impeach this judge who was trying to conduct foreign policy on behalf of the United States?
Well, thanks for having me, Matt. This is a district court judge that is usurping the executive's authority to conduct not only the foreign policy of the United States, but to attempt unconstitutionally to stop the executive from repelling an invasion. These are powers that the Commander-in-Chief of the United States has both under Article 2 of the Constitution, these are plenary powers, but also statutorily under the Alien Enemies Act. This is a gross overstep of the judiciary's authority here, and I believe that it's impeachable.
So Chief Justice John Roberts put out an unusual statement today criticizing President Trump for encouraging the action that you have just taken. What's your response to the Chief Justice?
Well, I think that if the Chief Justice wants to maintain the credibility that our courts have enjoyed for 200 years in this country, then he needs to step in and overturn this quickly. The American people are not going to sit around and wait for a long, lengthy court process to give the president the power that he already has. That is wrong. It's not what the people elected President Trump to do. President Trump is executing on the mandate that the people gave him last fall in our elections. We've had 4 years of open borders that Joe Biden bringing in ruthless, violent, illegal aliens into our communities. President Trump is getting rid of them, and the courts cannot unconstitutionally and illegally stand in his way.
Have you spoken to Speaker Johnson about impeachment? We've seen you and Eli Crane and Congressman Andy Ogles really take the lead on some of this judicial accountability, but does the House have an appetite for it?
You know, that's something that the committee is going to have to decide, that Speaker Johnson will have to decide. I have not spoken to him yet, but we will be having those conversations. I think that this is something that the American people not only are ready for, but are looking to see. They're looking to see the legislative branch check the power, the unconstitutional power of the judiciary. This is a core part of the checks and balances system in Washington. And it does involve a little bit of tension between the branches, but that is exactly how the founders designed our governments. We will be having those conversations.
A couple other just things in the news today, Congressman. We're getting word that President Trump and President Putin had a call that lasted more than an hour. They agreed that there would be future discussions in the Middle East. They see the region of the Middle East as a place for potential cooperation. Are you more hopeful hearing what we're hearing about the duration and substance of that call?
Well, I'm excited that we finally have a president who will look at our foreign policy through a conservative, realist lens. You know, if you think of the war in Ukraine, that war was going to continue indefinitely, potentially escalating into a global nuclear conflict with the other nuclear superpower, which is Russia, until President Trump stepped in and actually tried to bring both parties together to promote peace. That's something we should all be thankful for. If we can work with Russia or any other nation to promote peace and to promote global well-being, we certainly should. And I'm glad that we have a president who is asserting U.S. leadership on the world stage.
You've got some colleagues in Congress who call Vladimir Putin a war criminal and say that he ought to be executed or jailed forever. I am no fan of Vladimir Putin. At the same time, I understand that President Trump now is trying to cobble together peace. Do you think that the Congress would be supportive of a deal if it doesn't result in Russia having to give back Crimea and other territory they've held since 2014?
Well, I certainly think that they should. You know, from where we are now, and we have to look at the world as it is, not as we want it to be, from the place that we're at now. What is the path forward? Is the path forward perpetual conflict that potentially escalates? Is the path forward for Ukraine to to give in this war, possibly ceding far more territory than they want to and would be in our interests? Or is the path forward a negotiated peace that might include some minor land concessions? That sounds like the best solution to me, particularly if it's guided by the United States as the global hegemon in the world. What President Trump is doing is something that all Republicans should support. It is making the world more peaceful and more safe and advances the United States' interests globally. It's something we ought to be supporting.
Final question for you. One of the things that connects the people of Texas and the people of Florida is that we launch some of our very best beyond the heavens into space. We've just seen this harrowing return for the two astronauts who had been up at the International Space Station for quite some time. Elon Musk and SpaceX gave him a ride home. Your reaction to the successful landing?
Well, I'm thrilled that these astronauts have come back. They're safe. They're in good condition. Listen, this is what leadership from the White House looks like. This is a president who cares about the American people and cares about astronauts who have been stranded in space for months, who, by the way, Joe Biden didn't seem to have too much concern about. Whether he even knew they were up there or not is another question that we could discuss another time. But it is good to have a president in the White House who is cognitively fit, who knows what's going on in the world, who knows about crises that he can step in and help solve, and that we have somebody like Elon Musk who is willing to use his resources to help it. This is the return of the United States, not only on the world stage, but the return of the United States as a government that looks out for its own people.
Congressman Brandon Gill of Texas, Godspeed. Thanks so much for joining us again on the program.
Thank you.